Welcome back. Now we've just created the Khaimera AnimBP. Let's go ahead and open up this, and we're going to need to set this up so it works just like our Grux AnimBP. Now, the first thing we're going to do is right-click and call Update Animation Properties, and this is that blueprint callable function that we inherited in the Grux Anim instance. Let's go ahead and pass in delta time there. Now, we don't have the anim graph, but down here in the My Blueprint tab, here's the anim graph. We can double-click that and get that anim graph. Now, I'm going to open Grux AnimBP just so we can see what it is we're working with here. So we've got some slots, and we got a locomotion state machine. We're going to start with that state machine in Khaimera's AnimBP. So right-click, type state machine, and add a new state machine and call it locomotion. We're going to plug that straight into the output pose, open it up, and here we have our locomotion state machine. Now back in Grux's locomotion state machine, we have a simple idle run state. Let's create that here in Khaimera's state machine. We'll add a state and call it idle/run. Now, when it came to Grux's AnimBP, we had this idle to run, which existed in the Grux Paragon folder. Let's take a look at the Paragon folder for Khaimera. So let's scroll down, and we'll see Paragon Khaimera, and in Characters, Heroes, Khaimera, there's an Animations folder. And here's a blend spaces folder. Let's take a look in that. Now we have a few blend spaces here, like this locomotion jog 1D blend space, but it looks like it's got some strafing animations, and we're just going to want a idle run. So we're going to create our own blend space for Khaimera. Let's go ahead and go back up to our enemies folder. And it looks like we have our animations folder, but this is all for Grux. So we can rename this folder Grux Animations. And we can right-click and create a new folder and call this Khaimera Animations. Now here in the Khaimera Animations folder, we're going to right-click and select Animation and Blend Space 1D. And from here, we need to select the Khaimera skeleton. And we're going to call this Khaimera Idle Run. Let's double-click this. And for our horizontal axis, let's name this Speed. And we'll go from 0 to, say, 450. Now for Khaimera, we're going to search for an idle animation. And this HS idle seems like a decent animation. We're going to drag that in for a speed of 0. Now we can search for jog or run. I'm not sure which one Khaimera uses. I'm going to search for jog first. And it looks like we have a jog forward. Let's go ahead and bring that in. So now we have an idle to a running animation blend space. Let's go ahead and save this. Now back in Khaimera AnimBP for idle run, let's double click that and we can bring in Khaimera idle run and plug that in. And just like we did in Grux AnimBP, we can access the speed variable. This is inherited from the C++ class Grux Anim instance. And we can use that here and feed that into Khaimera idle run. So we're going to type get speed and plug that in. Now we can compile and save this. So now we have locomotion for Khaimera. Next we have some anim montages to create. If we go back into our enemies folder, in our Grux animations folder we have 3 anim montages: enemy attack, enemy death, and enemy hit. Let's start with enemy attack and look at Grux's enemy attack animation montage. We have 4 different sections here: attack L fast, attack R fast, attack L, and attack R. Let's see what attack animations we have in the Khaimera folder. So I'm going to scroll down to the Paragon Khaimera / Characters Heroes Khaimera Animations folder, and I'm going to type attack. And scrolling through these animations, I see we have a melee A and a melee B. And if we double-click melee A, we see that that's attacking with the right hand, and melee B is attacking with the left hand. Now there are a couple different versions. We have a melee A slow, and we have a melee A fast. So it looks like we have plenty of animations to use. So we can create an attack montage. So why don't we go back into our enemies folder and go into Khaimera Animations and create a montage. So let's right-click, go to Animation, Animation Montage, and select Khaimera. We got the Khaimera skeleton there, and we're going to call this Khaimera Attack Montage. Now in the Khaimera Attack Montage, we can add some animations. So I'm going to search for Melee, and Melee A is the right hand and B is the left hand. And just to be consistent with Grux, we did our left hand first and then our right hand. So let's take our Melee B fast and drag that in. And then we'll do Melee A fast and drag that in. And next we'll have Melee B slow, followed by Melee A slow. So now we have fast and slow animations for the left and right weapons, respectively. Okay, I'm going to hit save. And before I give these montage sections, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the Grux attack montage. And that's going to be in Grux animations. And we called this enemy attack. And we called each section attack L fast, attack R fast, and then attack L and attack R. So let's go ahead and add these section names to our Khaimera attack montage. So I'm going to right click. Since the default section is in the way, I'm going to go ahead and just right click right next to it, add a new montage section, and call this attack L fast. I'm going to move it to the beginning and move the default section back out and delete it. Next, I'm going to create another montage section and call this attack R fast and make sure that it's right here in between the animations. Next, I'll create another montage section and call this attack L and place it correctly here. And finally, I'll create one last montage section and call this attack R. And zoom in and position it correctly. Now I'm going to select the montage sections here and hit the clear button so that way none of these attacks lead into any other montage sections. Now I'm going to hit save, and we need to give this montage section its own slot. So let's go to the Anim Slot Manager, click Add Slot, and for our new slot name, I'm just going to type CHAI, short for Khaimera, and call this Khai Attack. And for the default group, I'll hit the drop down for slot, and for slot name, I'll select Khai Attack. Now I'm going to set this preview base pose to HS idle, save this, and then go back to the animation blueprint, back out to our anim graph, and add a slot node. Set this slot to Khai Attack and plug it in. And compile and save. So that takes care of our Khaimera attack montage. I'm going to go back to the Khaimera blueprint, select Khaimera self, and for attack montage, I'm going to select Khaimera attack montage and compile and save. Now we still need to make the enemy hit and the death montages. We're going to do those in the next video. I'll see you then.